Hello, I'm Daniel, and this is our presentation of Group 5 for Chapter 9, and we're going to talk about creative foundations of our deployment pipeline. So the main idea of creating the foundations of the deployment pipeline the goal is to ensure that we can recreate the entire production environment based on what is in version control. So creating the production environment and working on it and having it stored in the version control and keeping it on track when changes are done and these changes are submitted to the version control. This is what this chapter is going to talk about. So the first topic we're going to talk about is how to enable on-demand creation of dev, test, and production environments. First of all, I have to copy a virtualized environment, then build an automated environment creation process that starts from bare metal, then using infrastructure as code, configuration management tools, using automated operation systems, configuration tools, and assembling an environment from a set of virtual images or containers, and then spinning up a new environment in the public cloud. This is a very important point when we have to create a single repository of truth for the entire system. It doesn't make sense to have multiple repositories to the system, and it also doesn't make sense to have one repository that doesn't have the entire system in it. So the point is that everything is going to be inside one repository of truth. It is going to have the entire system in it. And it involves, like as it goes, any application code and dependencies, scripts, environment, any file used to create containers, all supporting automated tests, and so on. This is very interesting. That's the reason why we have to have our production environment in a repository, because it has to be easier to rebuild than to repair. We gotta have it stored somewhere so that when we face problems, we won't chase the problem and try to fix it. We can simply rebuild it instead of keeping that problematic system or environment and try to fix it. So it's much easier to have something that is easier to rebuild than to repair. Keep chasing problems. It will simply slow down the productivity. And how do we do that? We replicate changes. It's really very important to keep the repository up to date, because that's where we're going to rebuild the environment from. So keeping it updated is crucial. And we do this by optimizing changes for production. We don't have to make these changes manually. Of course, this is another bottleneck that has to be cut. Remove manually applied production changes. It's basically the same first of the previous one, and then keep production's environment up to date. As I said, keep running as changes are made, as they are tested and they're working. It's time to push them to the repository. Then modify definitions of development done to include running in production line environments. 2 points. Make sure that code runs in a production line environment, and then test code hundreds of, even thousands of times, will ensure that it runs as expected. Basically, when we have our production environment and we code in it, and as we code, we test it many times in the production line instead of having our own environment. Then the code runs in this environment, but then when it's deployed, um, it doesn't run because the environments are different, so the code will respond differently. So that's the point. Having the production line environment, production like environment, as we build the code and as we go, we're going to test many times already in the environment the production like environment. So the conclusion is, as developers have the opportunity to work in production-like environments, code will be tested many times, even in the beginning of the project. This will grant that code will be tested many times in an environment that is the same the final project will run when completed. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching.